Good day. Who's here with us today? CJ. How's it going? CJ and Sister Jeannie. And others who will be joining, I'm sure, momentarily. Today is Monday, August 26th, 2024. And welcome. I wanted to show this, the book. I started to read a while back. I want to get into it again. I know it's backwards, but maybe it isn't backwards. The Secret Society of Moses. This is a book written by Flavio Barbieros. I'm going to read this really quick, the back of it, to give you an idea what it's about. After the book of Exodus, Moses' two sons and numerous descendants all vanished from the Bible. Flavio Barbiero's investigation of this strange absence and his study of the centuries-long power struggle between the priestly families fighting for control of the Temple of Jerusalem starts with the rebellion against Rome and the emergence of Josephus Flavius, one of Moses' descendants, on the world stage. In AD 70, when the temple in Jerusalem was destroyed by Titus Flavius and thousands of Jewish priests were exterminated, Josephus Flavius, now bearing his sponsor's last name, followed Titus Flavius to Rome with at least 250 relatives and friends. Here they were made Roman citizens, but then subsequently disappeared from recorded history. Barbiero's careful study of early Christianity shows, however, that these surviving members of Moses' high priest lineage succeeded in taking control of the nascent Roman Church and masterminded its extraordinary success. So, and there's more, but that gives you a good idea of this is parts of this researched book can be found on the website ourladyisgod.com, and shows how, gives more evidence of how the Catholic Church was subverted very early on, and again by Jewish descendants. And again, the reason that we believe this to be factual and relevant especially is because of the elimination or the removal of Dea Matronam Nostrae from our minds as her being part of the Trinity. All right, so let's get started with morning prayers, and we'll continue with St. Catherine of Siena, but I did want to give that opportunity to those who might want to read this book on their own. I believe I got it on eBay, but it's available. In nomine Dei, Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Trinitarian Theophany, and in Catholic contemplation humbly adore the Divine Family. Most holy and venerable Trinitarian Theophany, one divine family, I believe that thou art here present. I venerate thee with the deepest humility. I render to thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to thee. One quick note, I want to thank those who comment on the different platforms that send people to the website. When we send the idea into the world about the divine family, the results are very positive. that's an easy concept to grasp, and I recommend we continue in that vein. O Trinitarian Theophany, relying on thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain pardon of my sins, the help of thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patronum Nostrae. O Trinitarian Theophany, I love thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of thee, and I forgive all who have injured me and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Trinitarian Theophany for the many graces that we receive and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven, and for the souls in purgatory. O Trinitarian Theophany, I most humbly thank thee for all the favors thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in thy service. I consecrate to thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by thy love, or that would not tend to thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Trinitarian Theophany the graces which are necessary to us. O Trinitarian Theophany, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O Deum Patronum Nostrae, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Patronum Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all, because they offend thee, O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Patronum Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. In nomine Deum Patronum Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. So today's reading from St. Catherine of Siena, a treatise on prayer. We'll talk about, which is very appropriate for these times and for us in particular. As I have told thee, these latter have issued forth from the house, which is a sign that they have arisen from imperfection and arrived at perfection. Open the eye of thy intellect and see them running by the bridge of the doctrine of Deum Iesum Christum crucified, which was their rule, way, and doctrine. They placed none other before the eye of their intellect than Deum Iesum Christum crucified, not the Father, as they do who are in imperfect love and do not wish to suffer pain, but only to have the delight which they find in me. But they, as if drunken with love and burning with it, have gathered together and ascended the 3 steps, which I figured to thee as the 3 powers of the soul, and also the 3 actual steps figured to thee as the body of my only Son, Deum Iesum Christum crucified, by which steps the soul, as I told thee, ascended, first climbing to the feet, with the feet of the soul's affection, from thence arriving at the side, where she found the secret of the heart, and knew the baptism of water, which has virtue through the blood, and where I disposed the soul to receive grace, uniting and kneading her together in the blood. Where did the soul know of this, her dignity? In being kneaded and united with the blood of the Lamb, Deum Iesum Christum, receiving the grace in holy baptism, in virtue of the blood, in the side, where she knew the fire of divine charity, and so, if thou remember well, my truth manifested to thee, when thou askest, saying, Sweet and immaculate Deum Iesum Christum, thou wert dead when thy side was opened. Why then didst thou want to be struck and have thy heart divided? And he replied to thee, telling thee that there was occasion enough for it. But the principal part of what he said I will tell thee. He said, because my desire towards the human generation was ended, and I had finished the actual work of bearing pain and torment, and yet I had not been able to show by finite things, because my love was infinite, how much more love I had. I wished thee to see the secret of the heart, showing it to thee open, so that thou mightest see how much more I loved than I could show thee by finite pain. I poured from it blood and water, to show thee the baptism of water, which is received in virtue of the blood. I also showed the baptism of love in two ways. First, in those who are baptized in their blood shed for me, which has virtue through my blood, even if they have not been able to have holy baptism, and also in those who are baptized in fire, not being able to have holy baptism, but desiring it with the affection of love. There is no baptism of fire without the blood, because the blood is steeped in and kneaded with the fire of divine charity, because through love it was it shed. There is yet another way by which the soul receives the baptism of blood, speaking as it were under a figure, and this way the divine charity provided, knowing the infirmity and fragility of man, through which he offends. Not that he is obliged through his fragility and infirmity to commit sin unless he wish to do so, but falling as he will into the guilt of mortal sin, by which he loses the grace which he drew from holy baptism in virtue of the blood. It was necessary to leave a continual baptism of blood. This the divine charity provided in the sacrament of holy confession. The soul receiving the baptism of blood with contrition of heart, confessing, when able, to my minister priests, who hold the keys of the blood, sprinkling it in absolution upon the face of the soul. But if the soul be unable to confess, contrition of heart is sufficient for this baptism, the hand of my clemency giving you the fruit of this precious blood. But if you are able to confess, I wish you to do so. And if you are able to and do not, you will be deprived of the fruit of the blood. It is true that in the last extremity, a man desiring to confess and not being able to will receive the fruit of this baptism of which I have been speaking. But let no one be so mad as to arrange his deeds that in the hope of receiving it, he puts off confessing until the last extremity of death, when he may not be able to do so, in which case it is not at all certain that I shall not say to him in my divine justice, thou didst not remember me in the time of thy life when thou couldst. Now I will not remember thee in thy death. Thou seest then that these baptisms which you should all receive until the last moment are continual, and though my works, that is, the pains of the cross, were finite, the fruit of them which you receive in baptism through me are infinite. This is in virtue of the infinite divine nature united with the finite human nature, which human nature endures pain in me, the Word, clothed with your humanity. But because the one nature is steeped in and united with the other, the eternal deity drew to himself the pain which I suffered with so much fire and love, and therefore can this operation be called infinite. Not that my pain, neither the actuality of the body be infinite, nor the pain of the desire that I had to complete your redemption, because it was terminated and finished on the cross when the soul was separated from the body, but the fruit which came out of the pain and desire for your salvation is infinite, and therefore you receive it infinitely. Had it not been infinite, the whole human generation could not have been restored to grace, neither the past, the present, nor the future. This I manifested in the opening of my side, where is found the secret of the heart, showing that I loved more than I could show with finite pain. I showed to thee that my love was infinite. How? By the baptism of blood, united with the fire of my charity, and by the baptism of water, united with the blood and the fire wherein the soul is steeped. And in order to show this, it was necessary for the blood to come out of my side. Now I have shown thee, said my truth to thee, what thou askest of me. Another wonderful thing to contemplate. Tomorrow we'll talk about how worldly people render glory and praise to the Trinitarian Theophany, whether they will or no, and how even the devils render glory and praise to the Trinitarian Theophany. Deum vobiscum et quoque opus. Oremus. O Trinitarian Theophany, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one Trinitarian Theophany, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum Hanc Immaculatum Hostium, quam ego indignus famulos tuus offerit tibi Deum meum vivum et verum, pro innumerabilibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligencies meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus, sed pro omnibus fidelibus catholicorum vivis atque defunctis ut mihi et idis proficiat ad salutem. Deum qui humanae substantia dignitatem mirabilita condidisiet mirabilis reformasti, da nobis peruius atquae et divinem stadium, eius divinitatis esse consortes qui militatis nostrae, fiat editatis es patriceps Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem salutaris tuum depecantes clementiam, ut conspecto divinae majestatis tuae pro nostra totis mundi salute, cum adore suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contrito suscipiam orate Deum Iesum Christum, et sequiet sacrificium nostrum in conspecto tuo hodie ut placeat tibi Deum matronam nostrae et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificatum. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificite plata prosequendo et accepere hoc sacrificium tuo sanctum nomini praeparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas Sancta Oblationem cum tibi afferimus, a memoriam passiones, resurrectionis et ascensiones Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Dei matronam nostrae, et a Papa Petrus Sanctorum et Istorum et omnium Sanctorum, ut illis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem ad salutem, et illi pro nobis intercedere ed in in caelis, quorum memoriam agimus in telis pedendum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate ut meum equestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat op Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. suscipiat Deum Iesum Christum, sacrificium de manibus tuis, et laudem et gloriam nominis sui, ad utilitatem quoque nostram totiusque, ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum ubiscum, quoque apud sursum corda habemus ad Deum, gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te igito clementes me matere pater, Deum matram nostrae, Deum patrum spiritum sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum filium tuum, Deum nostrae, supplices rogamus et petimus. Uti accepta habeas, et sanctificas hac sanctam sacrificium idibata. In primis quae tibi afferimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare, custodire ad honore, et regere digneris tot orbiterarum atquae catholicae. Memento Deum famulorum que tuorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We especially pray for Katie Gage, Neil and Earl Lively, Maria Josephina Mose, Mark Jr., Henry, Barbara, and Benedict Santa Croce, Casey, Mr. Nobody, Anne Boateng, the Cantu and Duarte families, Michaela McLarnon and family, Jenna, Lena, Lori, Aaron and family, Maria and the Lineweber family, the Cahill, Kendrick, Dosco, Nye, Tafor, Began, Wolf, and Kane families and all their intentions. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sedevacantis Catholic Council office in Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, and child ritual abuse of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, with sound medium exchange, and with true Catholic justice, with no lying. We pray for courageous men to learn to become leaders and step forward to create this Catholic society. We pray for wisdom on how to prepare natural foods and raise animals naturally on small farm settings, and we pray that we assist our neighbor in that same vein. We pray for the elimination of all harmful radiation waves in our air and in our homes. And then we shut down CERN, close all gateways and portals and all devices electronically that promote dangerous situations like that. We ask for a reversal of the feminist ideology and a return to godly femininity, that all quote-unquote gay marriage be banned and all pornography and OnlyFans platform be stopped immediately. We ask that you destroy, or that the satanic document of Vatican law, that is the Jewish Talmud, be destroyed, along with Rome and the Vatican, and recognize the transfer of the authority of the Catholic Church to Fatima, Portugal. We also ask you to block any passage of any so-called pandemic treaty by the WHO, and to block all attempts at their deception to the public. And we ask that all people turn off their TVs and pick up their rosaries. All these things we ask in accordance with the Trinitarian Theophany's holy and divine will. Et omnium circumstantiam quorum tibi fides cognita est, et nota devotio pro quibus tibi afferimus, vel qui tibi offrunt hoc sacrificium laudis pro se suis omnibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum, pro spe salutis et calamitatis suae. Tibi crederunt vota sua, aeterno Deum vivo et vero, communicantes et memoriam venerantes in primis gloriosae, semper Dei maternam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Beatorum martyrum tuorum Papa, et Sancti Petri, et Sancti Lucia, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum tuorum corum meditis praecibusque concedas, ut in omnibus protectionis tuae muniam exilio pedi in Christum Deum nostrum. Quam oblatione Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus consecratum ac et tabernacle facere dignitis ut nobis corpum et sanguinem fiat didictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridie quam pateretur recepit panem in sancta sac venerabilis manus suas, et derivatis oculis in calamate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum sum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravi, frege didique lumis sui dicens accipite et amanducate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simile modo postquam ceremonia est accipiens, et hunc praeclarum calicem in sancta sac venerabilis manus suas identivi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, consecravit didique lumis sui dicens accipite et vivite ex omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissione peccatorum, quod est simplificeritis in meo facetis. Unde et memores Deum nos servitui, sed plebs tua sancta justum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae. Tam beate passionis nec non et in fedis rejectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosae ascensionis afferimus praeclare maiestati tuae de tuis donis actatis, supra quae propitio ac sereno vutu respeceri digneris. Supplices te ragamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, iube haec per Philippe manus tuum ut quod ex hoc autoris participationis sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinem subsenimus, omni sanctificatione caelestia gratia repe amor, per innum Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for Roland LaPlante, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis demet omnibum in Christum quis gentibum locum refugerii lucis et pacis ut odor geste pracamur per innum Christum Deum nostrum, per quem haec omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est tibi Deum Matrum omnipotente in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea Matronam Nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum. Dea Matronam Nostrae Matram, Deum Iesum Christum misericordia nobis, peccatoribus nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos quaesimus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ab omnibus malis praeteritis, praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente beate gloriosa semper Deum Matronam Nostrae. Cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis da propitius pacem in diebus nostris, ut opi misericordiae tuae aduiti et peccato, simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione securi. Per eundem Deum nostrum Iesum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrum, qui dicum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum, et quoque apud te. Haec commixtio et consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum fiat excipientibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum, et quoque apud te. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum matronam nostrae, cooperante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuum unu vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacro sanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum abonibus in liquidatibus meis, et una versis malis, et fac me tui semper in harare mandatis, et numquam separari permittas, qui cum eodem Deum matronam nostrae, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, vibis et regnam aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum quod ego indinius sumere praesimo, non mihi proveniat in judicium et condemnationem, sed pro tua pietate prosit mihi ad tutamentum metis corporis et ad medelam percipiendam, qui vivis et reinas cum Deum matronam nostrae in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem calestem accipiem, et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Deum matronam nostrae non sunt dignes, utitus et etum eis in tante liquere vos in aberanum mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sunt dignes, utitus et etum eis in tante liquere vos in aberanum mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sunt dignes, utitus et etum eis in tante liquere vos in aberanum mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quid retrobum Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus quae retribuit mihi, calicem salutaris accipiem et nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo, laudans invocabo Deum matronam nostrae et ab inimicis meis salvus ero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet animam tuum. Cordari subsimus Deum Iesum Christum piedamente capiamus et timore tempore fit nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum, quod subsiet sanguis quam potavi, et heriat visceribus meis, et praesta ut in me non remania, scelera macula quem pura et sancta reficerunt sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote. Oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids. We beseech thee, O Trinitarian Theophany, that thou mayest free them from all sins, and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, quoque apote, ite missa est, Deum gratia. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam obsequium servitutis meae, et praesta ut sacrificium corporis tuae majestatis illus auctoritibus et a captabilem hic et omnibus proquibus illud auctoliciti miseranti propitiabile peccurus in Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Maternam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Maternam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gratias. O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most holy Trinitarian Theophany, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum present here, in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended. And through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and immaculate heart of Dea Maternam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Dei Maternam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Thank you for attending, and remember, we are the early church again. I was just thinking, this thought from heaven came that what we're doing now will be recognized in the future as critical, as like the beginnings of the something, but it's going to be important. So please continue to pray and to have that connection with the Trinitarian Theophany, the way that St. Catherine of Siena and St. John of the Cross and St. Teresa of Avila, to name a few, have helped us to understand. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Please go and sanctify all those you meet. See you at 7:30.